Let me know when you're on Twitch, and then we can get started. Hello everyone, and welcome to the stream. Today we're going to be doing a game review. Just have to wait for Greyjohn to come in. Hey, hi. Okay, great. Let us get started. Okay, so in general, what did you think of this game? I know you said you weren't satisfied with it, but was there anything in particular you weren't satisfied with? Okay, he says, I got impatient and my reading ahead was poor. Okay, I mean, well, anything specific on the board? Can you think of anything? Okay, he says, I almost fell for the knight drop on move 40. Okay. Let's go to move 40. And I let the knight fork on move 30 happen, even though I knew it was, well, lance drop on move 30 happened, even though I knew it was there. Oh, this? Okay. Alright. Well, is this really a bad thing? I mean, he does have a threat, but not every threat needs to be defended against. You notice that this knight capturing the silver moves the piece away from your king, so it's kind of slow. So I don't know. I think that it's not that big a. I mean, that big a danger that you'd actually have to address it. because you do have options of not capturing it too, but it's probably safer just to take. Since your advantage is so big, there's no reason to go into an immediate semi, and your king just escapes. Okay. Okay, now here, let me move the move list away from view. You played 8-8 king, which is not bad, but can you find something even better? I know you're playing this on Shogi Playground, so there was no time limit. So in that kind of case, you should try to practice playing with good technique. You know, part of being in a slump or playing badly, it has to do with the willingness to look at and really try to play good moves instead of just merely reacting to stuff. So it's a willingness to find exact moves that it's going to affect whether your form is good or not. 5-4 knight. And what's the follow-up after he takes? I think he's going to have to take. Hey, hi, Mr. Roboto. That blocks his play with the lance. Okay. Well, suppose you have a threat that's so strong that you don't even have to defend. So if you have forcing moves, then and no need to defend, then don't defend. Gold drop 5-3. Yeah, there's actually something a lot simpler. But yeah, actually that does look like it works. Oh, excuse me. You're no, it doesn't. Sorry, hallucinating. Yeah, there's actually a much easier way to continue. Stack up pieces to attack the gold. Yes, that is possible, but if you end up doing it, let's say you want to defend the pawn on 7-6. Yeah, you could just do that. It attacks and defends at the same time. But there's something even faster. So remember when we're doing our endgame problems, those Yosei problems that we're doing for the past couple weeks? You remember the procedure that we went through? This has to do with endgame play. Okay, so here it is. So we first check to see if you have an immediate mate. And if you don't have an immediate mate, then you check to see if the opponent is threatening mate against your king. And that way you can get what you call a Sokudo Keisa, which is like an endgame evaluation to see who's ahead in the attacking race. In this case, you can just glance at it. I mean, your advantage is so large that it's very clear that you're ahead. Uh, Even if you didn't threaten mate yourself on this move, there'd be no way for white to checkmate your king. And I'll just pass a move just to demonstrate. If he does something like this, you know, you don't even need to take the lance, although you could and you still wouldn't be mated. See, your king's safe. There's no way for him to to mate. You could also take here, and if you're worried about something like this, maybe yeah, you would have to. It's not. Yeah, this is of course less than ideal, but you don't get mated. So yeah, you just move the king out of the way. So your king is safe. But prior to that, you always ask yourself, do I have a tsume? And here the answer is yes. Can you find the sequence? Yes, it begins with 5-1 bishop, like this. Now, if the king runs here, there's going to be an easy mate this way. Right? If the king runs here, there's also going to be a very simple mate. Just take and then mate like that. So that means that the bishop has to be captured. And then after that, this is very easy to find. Now you can play 6-1 gold, that's okay. You can also do this way. Here. This is going to be mate. Okay. Alright. So just one general remark about the opening. Why did you play this move? Yeah, you don't see this an awful lot when you're playing against the third file rook. Okay, he says, because if I took the bishop and then advanced the rook, you could play 3-3 bishop and force me to move my rook back. Okay. Alright, so again we go to that thing I mentioned before about how strong threats are. So let's see what happens if you don't take that precaution and, air quotes of playing 7-8 gold. So he takes here first, you take here first, and if he exchanges and drops like this, you mean now pull back? That would be, I mean, the bishop is hitting the silver, but this would be very submissive. So you have to, even though it's good that you're spotting the opponent's threats, you also have to evaluate whether or not the threats are worth defending against. And in this case, I think it isn't. And do you see why? Yes, the king is in a terrible spot. Okay, it has to do with the relative king safety. Look where the attack is coming from. So there's a promoted rook. There's just two spaces separating him from the king. Whereas look at your king. Your king is very safe. Maybe the only thing he can do is take the silver, and even then the promoted bishop will be far away from your king. Pretty far away from your king. It is two spaces away, but it doesn't put as much pressure on your king as this dragon does against his. Okay. So if he continues like this, then you can just attack the rook. And as soon as it moves, the silver falls. Yeah. So you're way better here. Okay. So aside from that, do you see any other reason why a gold move like this wouldn't be really great shape? Okay, he says the rook is coming from the right, so that gold needs to be to the right of the king ideally. Yes, good. So two reasons why you don't play this. Okay. All right. But other than that, the game didn't go too badly. I mean, you got this anyway. Okay, so what did you learn from this game? Okay, make sure a threat is worth responding to. Okay, good. Sometimes it can be ignored. I would say though that's the main thing. Anything else? Okay, the guidelines in Yosei are check whether you have Tsume, check whether your opponent has Tsumero or can attack effectively, and I forgot the other stuff. Okay. Yeah, it's mainly to do like this end game. It's like a reckoning. So you're checking accounts or checking to see who's winning the attacking race. And I hope the other thing you learn is it has to, a lot of finding good moves or being in good form has to do with just the willingness to look for good or exact moves. If you're inexact, then that means your play is going to be sloppy, and it's going to carry over to all these different parts of your game. It's just really, it's just a really bad situation. So try to practice good technique, especially when there's no, there's no time limit involved. You could just, spend time to your heart's content and find the correct move. And if you can't find the mate in this situation, just at least try to find it after the game. But try to make a habit of good technique. And the last thing was about this gold. Okay. All right. So let's move on to the next one. Unless you had questions about this. No? Okay. Let me open the next game. We'll close this. Might have to go in 5 to 10 or 10 to 15 minutes. Okay, yeah, that's fine. No, this wasn't it. Close it. Yeah, this is it. Okay. All right. Okay, again, you're playing black this game. The opponent is using what looks to be Ureshino Ryu. Okay, now you did this. You see any alternative? What tool? Yeah. There's two really good alternatives here to this. Yes, 7/7 bishop. That simply defends against a pawn exchange. And maybe after here you can just keep developing normally. Perfectly fine. And what's the other one? Yeah, 7/8 gold, right. So in this one you allow the exchange of pawns but it's also okay. You just go into a different type of opening. So this is more in line with Aigakari. When you played this, probably in and of itself, I'd say that it isn't a bad move, but I think the follow-ups weren't, I guess, it didn't mesh with this move played. I'll show what I mean. Okay. And now, was this just a miscalculation? Yeah, okay. So let's say the silver were still on 3-1. This move would make a lot more sense. The problem is that 2-3 pawn doesn't come in with that much force because the bishop can always move back. And it also, with the silver out, it defends its pawn. Right? So here, maybe you can just pull this guy back. And then the game will continue like that. And then you've lost some time, but you know it's still a game. So what could you have done instead of this? Seven bishop 3. It's silver. 7-8 gold and 1-6 pawn are good candidate moves. Okay, this last one, 1-6 pawn, I would say that it's playing on the wrong side of the board. With this pawn on 7-5, it usually signals a Hinari Bisha type of game, so what you'd want to do is play this one so you can develop the bishop on 9-7. He threatens 5-3 silver, 6-4 silver, and 3-1 bishop, so you can counter this plan with 9-7 bishop and 7-8 rook. Yeah. So 1-6 pawn it doesn't further that plan. So you have to take into account this typical moves in a setup. So maybe something like this. Yeah. Okay. Kind of spinning your wheels here. Now you see the 7-5 pawn is kind of loose. So in a way your position is kind of overextended. Okay, and threatening 5-5 silver. And you played this. Taking the silver. This could have been possible. Of course, you have to worry about the rook being counterattacked like this. But after 2-5 rook, then I think you're better here. If bishop takes, then 2-3 silver. Also pawn here, and you don't. If he tries to slow down your play on the file by doing this, you don't need to take on 2-3 with the silver. Maybe you can just go like that. This is kind of interesting. So that might have been another try. That way you can at least try to make use of the pawn on 2-3. Okay. And yeah, things start to go downhill. Yeah. Okay. All right. Did you have any questions on this game? You know, I would really like to see you start using things like this or this. Just try it out. I know that you've been playing with this type of move, you know, for the past several months, but I don't know, I think it's time to graduate and move on to something else. Yeah, did you have questions? What do I mean by graduate in this context? Well, not in that you get a passing grade on this, but maybe graduate isn't the right word. I think it's might be time to look, just, you know, experiment with something else. Because you can always go back to this later on. I mean, if you find that alternatives aren't working out. Yeah. I mean, it would be really nice if you got this thing down really, really well, but I don't know, it seems that you're struggling in a lot of positions. So maybe alternatives might, I mean, it could just be stylistically easier for you to play. Yeah. Okay. All right. If you don't have any other questions, does chat have, other people in chat have questions about this? No. Okay, well, later on today I'm probably going to be streaming again with another endgame session. I don't know exactly when it'll be, but probably within the next couple hours. If you haven't already, please remember to register your Twitch account and give me a follow. Also check out my YouTube videos where I archive some of my streams. And if you've enjoyed the stream and have learned from it, please consider supporting it through donations. You can do that through the Streamlabs link that I posted in chat. Donations are not necessary but are always appreciated. I hope to see you guys later on for the endgame stream. Take care. Bye.